Welcome. We're here talking about Overkill's The Walking Dead. Very, very excited. So starting from all the way over there on my right, will you introduce yourself and tell us what you do here?
My name's Dan Panocean, and I'm an artist. I work with Skybound, and I wrote slots, but I've been working on a lot of the video games for Walking Dead. I'll be the art monkey today.
Nice.
Drawing
You're gonna be
zombies.
drawing?
Yeah.
You gonna be sketching
I'm
over
gonna
there?
sketch, I think maybe a zombie.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
Robert, you...
I've never seen one of those.
Yeah. Well,
In real
pay
life.
attention. Pay attention.
I can't wait.
Yeah, you can
What are you
I've always
incorporate it
wondered what
into
they
a-
look like.
What are you gonna do when they really come, Robert? Are you gonna be on?
Oh my!
Like, what are you gonna do?
Jeez, what? I mean, when they really come?
Yeah.
What wouldn't you do?
Wouldn't I'd be surprised. I'd probably die from surprise.
Do you think people
Really?
come to you?
They're real? Yeah, that would be fun.
would-
Okay, Robert, what do we do? I don't know. Sit at a keyboard? I don't know.
Like the president wants to talk to you about
Yeah,
it. Like,
You've thought about this, right? What do we do? I don't know.
all right.
All
And
the
you,
zombies
sir?
want is just royalties, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And eating off our good name all
Yeah.
these years.
Where's our royalties? And you, sir, introduce yourself,
I'm
please.
Sean Makowitz, editor-in-chief of Skybound.
Awesome. And you fine gentleman with a beard.
Thank you. Almir Listo, I'm a brand director at Starbase and a producer at Overkill.
Very, very nice. And of course, Robert Kirkman.
I'm Robert Kirkman.
Yeah. You don't need to introduce yourself.
And
Everybody knows who you are.
Michael Rooker.
Oh, and Michael
Michael Rooker.
Rooker's here, guys.
Wow.
His soul has been transported into this sheet of paper. Okay, so
Coolest sheet of paper that ever lived.
right, the most badass.
Impressive.
So many paper cuts. Okay, so guys, this is the second time Almir and you have been on the stream together
Okay,
talking about
Yeah.
Overkill's The
Yeah.
Walking Dead. So let's talk about what's happened with Overkill's The Walking Dead since then to now.
So last time we met and spoke about it in public, we talked about what we were doing together, right? And since then we showcased the Aiden trailer, the Maya trailer, the Grant, as well as Heather, the 4 different survivors that people are going to be able to play as when the game comes out in November. And we just came out of E3, where we had got 1,000 people to play through the experience, got some really valuable feedback from the players there when they got to play the Georgetown level, and now we're here at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, talking a bit more about the game. Yeah.
Okay, so what can you tell us? Is there any new developments since announcing things at E3 that you can talk about now?
We're actually doing a surprise launch of the game today.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Oh shit!
Sorry.
Boom.
Not true.
this
Not
chat,
true.
the chat's just gonna.
Yeah, I know a lot of Walking Dead fans out there would have
Everyone
loved
here in
that.
the crowd gets a free copy of the game. So just go to Rachel over there. She'll give it to you guys. No, I'm sorry. She's like, I almost didn't come to this.
So, but, we're here today to just.
What we
Here-
have is more exciting than that.
Yeah, well, we're just going to continue talking about The Walking Dead, and we have a little something to show today.
Oh,
so, yeah,
sir.
we're going to talk about a different part of the game, talk about a bit about claustrophobia, and ask Robert his thoughts on how you would survive in a traumatic underground experience. But we got some cool images to show there, so yeah.
Very cool. Okay, well, we'll
Show
get
those
to
off.
that. And so
Oh,
you
we're
want to
not
do that
doing it?
now?
I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to
now?
do it. I want to do it if you want to do it.
Let's do it. Show off these images. This is very exciting.
So this is, I'll talk a bit briefly. I talked to our narrative lead before this because, the story keeps on changing. The team is working with Robert, on
Yeah.
making it exciting. So
And really, the great thing about that is that the game keeps evolving and getting better every step that we take over this, long period of time,
Yeah.
leading up to our launch, where the game's going to be amazing.
absolutely. And we're going to continue pushing it after launch and just continue making it even more amazing with additional stories. So this particular part, I'll read it out. So we want to take the opportunity today to show off something new, namely one of our creepier parts of the game. It's called the Brooklyn Metro. We showed a glimpse of this in the gameplay teaser during E3 back in June, and now we're going to show off some more images. So what you can see is this dark, gritty environment underground. And in this part of the game, our group of survivors are on the run from a bigger threat and have been forced to escape through the subway system and the tunnels under Washington, D.C. So this is a place that you really don't want to be in. These cramped spaces, crawling with walkers who are being hunted by a worse danger. So visually, what we wanted to do was to really capture that gut-clenching claustrophobic feeling that really creeps up on you in places where you can't find your way out. So we wanted to wonder what's in the darkness, and get people to go, I don't want to go there,
Absolutely.
So yeah, so this switches up the gameplay pretty much because in Georgetown that we got people to play during E3, it's a more open environment. You know, you're in a neighborhood during daytime. But here, you're actually forced down into these cramped spaces, and you have this danger in the story behind you. We don't want to spoil it until the game's out, right? But there's something happening that you have to flee from, and it forces you down here into this system underground. Yeah.
And the great thing about the Walking Dead world in general is that danger can be lurking around any corner at any time, and that really leads to some really awesome gameplay. And so then when you put that gameplay in an environment where you can't see the corners, and the corners are everywhere, things just get that much more intense.
Exactly, it does. And I think when people get to play this, they're going to really feel that. And something that coming out of E3 that people have been saying is that we've managed to capture like the essence of the comics. But couldn't you try to help me explain a bit what is the essence of the comics? Like what is it people are referring to when they say like, oh, it feels like the comic books, or like I'm in The Walking Dead?
Oh, good. I thought he was directing that to me.
No.
Both of you. Yeah,
I was giving you the look of go, Sean, go. Go, Sean, go.
Do it.
No, hey, look, Walking Dead at its core is an emotional story, so it's not about hacking and slashing and running and gunning. Even though that's a great part of video games and will be a big part of this game, it's all about the consequences, and it's all about the stakes, and it's all about the emotions that you would have in this world. That's really the core of what makes The Walking Dead. That you still have the action, you still have the zombie drama and the tense stakes and all those kind of things, but it's the emotional core that's ever present in everything that we do that makes anything Walking Dead a Walking Dead thing.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why the characters have been so important to us while we've been making the game, and while we are still making the game. And these screenshots are from in development. They're being, the levels are being worked on right now by the team back home in Sweden. And that's why I'm here and not anyone else from the crew, because they're all back home working hard on the game, right? Because we need to finish it and we need to get it launched, and then we're going to continue working on it together. I think that's the cool thing, because we have like all these Walking Dead comics, right? Because we're at Comic-Con and it's awesome. But I think the cool thing about the comics is it's been going on for such a long time, and that's been our ambition with the game too, to continue.
15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oof. I'm getting old.
How does that feel?
Feels a little overwhelming, to have our 15th year this year, and to still feel like we're only at the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm getting anxious just looking at the lighting you guys use in these screenshots here. I'm always terrified by a lack of or a great use of lighting in a terrifying game like this. Can you talk a little bit about the use of lighting in these particular levels or throughout the game?
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Well, of course, yeah. Well, I'm allowed to talk about what I'm allowed to talk about. And thankfully, before this, we've actually talked a bit about the lighting, and our artists talked about how they are trying their best to really capture, like we were talking, the essence of the universe. What is that? It's one part of it is the rich history of the universe. 15 years is a long time, and a lot of stories have been told, a lot of emotions have been run through during that time. But in this type of setting, what the artists are trying to do is one thing, show what's going on in this environment, because these the underground, where the metro is, where the subway is, a lot of people were probably there, right? And when the thing happened, when the outbreak happened, a lot of walkers appeared in this part of the world. So there's going to be a lot of symbols, a lot of things in the environment that shows that something has happened, and there's going to be a lot of dark corners where there will be walkers crawling upon you, walking towards you, and it's a powerful tool for the level designers as well to work with the lighting and see and be able to direct the player into some areas, whereas they can try to surprise you in others. So it has a very, very important part in the game.
I feel like the lighting in my room where I will be playing this game will be bright and daylight, just shining through the room. I'm going to be terrified as hell.
Yeah. It's very bright in our QA room at the office.
Oh, good. Yeah, and it will be right where I play it as well.
UV lamps everywhere, Doors shut, windows shut, everything, yeah.
Right, and just happy music playing, like elevator music.
Yeah.
What else can you talk about in these levels here that you can give to us, not giving away too much?
Well, it's difficult because it's story related, but if you're looking at the levels or the images, obviously there's going to be survivors, the players. It's a 4-player co-op experience, right? So you're going to have 4 people walking around screaming inside of these corridors.
Right,
And then,
a lot of diapers.
You're going to have all the walkers, different walkers, and other things that will surprise the players. Also, what's cool about this area in the game is that we have puzzles throughout the game because we want to challenge the players and have them work together, because it's a cooperative experience, and very much like the comic books, you rarely make it out alone, right? You're either alone or you're alive. So, and a few characters do, right? But generally speaking, people try to maintain a group. And what we've found, is that 4 people playing together, not only is it a lot of fun, it's also reflective of this universe, of the Walking Dead universe. And when the 4 survivors come down here and they start finding more things out and they're starting to make their way through the level, it's just gonna get harder. And with the hordometer, or the noise meter we have, it's a if you haven't heard about it before, it's like a dynamic difficulty system. Yeah. So one of the most important things for us making the game is trying to realize what makes The Walking Dead tick. And one of the things is sound. Through the entirety of the comics, even though you necessarily don't write about it directly, sound is such an important factor of the universe. Rick and the rest of the survivors, they always have to make sure that they're not, that they're hidden, and if they're not, if they're fighting a group or whatever, there's always something additional that happens. You never fight just someone else. You're always fighting those guys and the walkers that suddenly appear out of nowhere. There's always a conflict that surprises the group or survivors, and that's what we're trying to capture as well. That even though there might be humans chasing you or whatever, the walkers will always be there, like some kind of like a force of nature almost.
Man, this is so terrifying. I'm getting that anxiety, but I can't wait to get my hands on it, because there's definitely that group of friends that I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait to play this with you guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna be insane. We're going to be yelling at each other. We're going to be angry, and friendships will be ruined.
Yeah, and when people panic, they start shooting, and when they start shooting, they're starting to attract walkers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of wet sounds, just
yeah.
but it's just you doing it to your friends.
Right.
I hear him coming.
Look out behind you. So when you guys, I don't want to skip over the idea of how would Robert escape an underground scenario.
How does he escape Comic-Con every year? I think some similarities. Let's compare and contrast.
It's the underground system. Yeah, he knows the tunnels.
I mean, I'm sure you've been asked so many scenarios.
As a general rule, I just don't go underground. So
right. You've been on the subway in New York, or the tube in the UK, probably.
Terrified every minute of it. Yeah.
Well, what would you do if you got caught in a subway during this catastrophic event?
I'm not a capable human being. I feel like I would crawl in a corner and cry until something ate me. Especially if it looked like this. This is absolutely terrifying.
You'd never make it to level 2.
No, I would never. Yeah, no.
Right.
Well, I mean, when I have a controller in my hand, I'm actually pretty good. But real life, underground?
Well,
no.
yeah, that's the thing.
Definitely not.
This is worse than being in the streets, I feel like, because at least in the streets, you've got the protection of the sun. There's plenty of other people around.
The sun? What's the sun going to do?
The sun will keep the road open to you. Yeah. Listen.
Oh, I'm dying.
Listen,
I love
I'm
the
a
sun
bit of
on
an
my
expert,
face.
and the sun doesn't help you so much in the zombie apocalypse. I wish it did.
I hope these zombies get skin cancer really quickly. It's going to help.
They're calling copper time.
I just don't want to be in that position at all, whether it's nighttime or daytime. But I would love, Robert, if you were cowering in the corner during this thing and someone's like, isn't that the guy that created The Walking Dead there?
Wow.
He's just crying in the corner there.
Not so tough without your keyboard, are you? Yeah. And I'd be like, definitely not.
Okay, so when you guys showed stuff off at E3,
Yeah.
the collective kind of opinion of the game is people were freaking out. Like Rotten Tomatoes said that translating the unforgiving world of the comic books into thumb blistering gameplay. Variety said some awesome stuff. Game Informer, Games Radar said, like the show, mixed with one of the best zombie games of all time, Left 4 Dead. So there's this overwhelming response from the games community for this game so far. How's that response been for you guys and the team working so hard on this game?
Well, it's been really active. People they care. People care about the Walking Dead universe. It's been around for such a long time, so people have gotten emotional.
Not that long. I'm still very young.
I'm not saying you're old.
It's gray hair.
Very young. You're one of the youngest people I know.
Don't notice the gray hair.
It's the worst.
Having what we wanted and what we really, really care about is getting people to play the game. Because no matter how beautiful the game looks, no matter how awesome the music is, no matter how all these things were combined, they're nothing if the gameplay isn't sound, right? So the reason we wanted to go to E3, sure, we did a lot of interviews and had a lot of fun like that, but we wanted people to play it. We wanted to get as many people as we could through the experience, and we're going to continue to do that until we launch the game. But we need to fix stuff, and we need to improve things, and we need to make that little extra level work as good as it can before we try the next batch. But what people said generally was like that it had a lot of fun. And they just wanted to try more. And the Horde meter, the dynamic difficulty, it really made people die a lot, and it made people have to think twice before they play it. Because when you throw people in front of a first-person shooter, they assume it plays like any other first-person shooter.
Right.
But because the Walking Dead universe is a lot more about you have to think before you do things, because otherwise your friends are going to die or get bitten or whatever. You actually have to use tactics, and you have to talk with each other, and you have to calm someone who's panicking because they're going to attract a lot of walkers, and that's going to make life more hard.
I find that super refreshing. I mean, there's these FPSs are a dime a dozen, but you inject this. You have to plan it out with your pals. I almost like the idea of like, okay, guys, let's have this pre-game talk before we go into the game, and just be like, what are we doing? What's your role? How are you not going to screw up this time?
Yeah.
You know, I just love the idea that it's just not run and gun.
The Leroy Jenkins of the
yeah, exactly. There's going to be so many of those videos, I'm sure, once the game comes out, of people just going like the dick running in and just shooting his gun everywhere.
But that extra level of gameplay is something that really excited us. At Skybound, we've had no end of opportunities to do a first-person shooter, but that genre is so prevalent in video games, and there are so many zombie things done with that we wanted to make sure it was something special. And it wasn't until Overkill laid out all of the things that they're planning on doing to make it different, to make it, you know, an additive experience that is different than the way you normally play first-person shooters, including the things we've talked about and some other things that haven't been revealed yet that really got us excited and told us, you know, yeah, this is the time to finally bring The Walking Dead into this genre and do something really cool with it.
Oh, I love that so much. And again, I'm looking for the newest iteration of an FPS that gets me excited as a gamer, and this sounds exactly like what we've been looking for, basically.
I feel like most of those experiences that I had, you kind of plateau.
You certainly do, yeah.
And you kind of just know what works, and this one, you're kind of always left to figure out new ways to solve problems.
And I love that, like, you'll get those cocky gamers that are just like, oh, I got this, and whatever they've learned from other games might not work so well in this one. Everyone's going to have to learn a new method of making this work, and I love that.
Little 10-year-olds know so much. Like, no 10-year-olds. You need to be at least 12 to figure this one out.
You're actually onto something. Like, this game is exactly about that, not plateauing. It's about the continuation, because not only are we trying to mirror the comic books, because the game is based on the comic books by Robert, we're also trying to mirror how Robert writes for his community, right? So it's not like he did one comic and said, all right, we're done. This is the comic issue. I will not write another one. It's a continuation.
It was the best one, though.
Yeah. That specific one, yeah, with Negan.
Speaking of plateaus, no,
this is exactly how we want to treat Overkill's The Walking Dead 2. So we have a lifeline system that we call it that will continue post-launch. So the game comes out in November, sure, but the whole point for us is that the continuation of the game, the upcoming content, the content that we're going to do when we get the fan reaction, when people go, oh, I love this character, I hate this character, and we can start talking with Robert and you and go like, what should we do here? Should we do a twist? Should we involve something more and get the narrative team back home going? You know, maybe we should try something different here and try to talk and communicate with the players.
And was there a lot that you learned at E3 in that area? Like, were there things you weren't really thinking about, but as a community, as the gaming community got their hands on your game for the first time, did you feel you learned a lot of things?
Absolutely,
like, oh, shit,
absolutely, because the people we had on the show floor were developers. We flew in 24 of the crew back home from Sweden, everything from system designers to other people from the crew, because we wanted them to be able to see live, face to face, how people were playing the game. Because it's one thing for us to sit in our studio and go, this is a great feature, but it's a completely different thing having 1,000 people at a show go through it in a very chaotic environment and try to have 4 people to have as much fun as possible during that time. Absolutely. It was super valuable for us to do that.
That's great. I love that. I like to hear that. That warms my heart. Because the community helped you guys. I like that.
Yeah. Well, it warms our hearts too, because we love our community and we want them to be involved, And I bet you love your community too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, actually, as we're doing this, we have some of our community insiders. Yeah, here are hardest of hardcore fans kind of in attendance. So
yeah.
Yes, there we go. So
who are still not getting the game.
Can we talk a bit about this art?
Yeah, let's get an update on the sketch.
Can we give the sketch away?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're going to give that away?
Yeah, we have to give that away.
Oh, my
Give
goodness.
it away to
Robert can't have everything.
I'll take it.
So can you tell us about what inspired you for this particular piece here? Is this an original piece from you, or is this something from your head just now?
The way you were describing Robert, like cowering in the corner and fearful, I was like, this has got to be the guy who's...
That's the guy.
That's him?
Yeah.
Is that about right, Robert?
made me
Did that
happy.
guy freak you out?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I would definitely, crumble.
What do you think What do you think he'd smell like? Do you have any
Probably not
ideas?
good.
Yeah.
Cheese and rotten fruit,
Yeah, I mean, let's give.
sadness.
Let's have. If Robert doesn't mind, let's have him sign the thing and sign a couple of
that'd be
these, and we
cool.
can give it away to.
That would be awesome.
We can give it away to
great.
like the Skybound insiders and the Overkill community and the Walking Dead community.
My goodness gracious, that's a special treat.
Yeah. And I bet that cowering in the corner thing is going to be extremely valuable in the Walking Dead
Absolutely,
community, right?
especially-
Is there like a L2 and he'll cower in the corner in the game? Can we set that up?
Yeah. We'll see what we can do back
Want
home.
that.
Absolutely.
So while we're bombarding Robert with signatures, do you guys want to... You said that you pulled some questions for Robert from your community.
Yeah. You want me to run through them?
Yeah, that'd be
so
great.
We asked the community, the Overkill's The Walking Dead community, because it's kind of fresh, right? Because we announced the game, we haven't even released the game yet, but we're talking with the community and we want them to be involved and we want them to be able to reach out to Robert himself. So I got him here on my phone. Hold on.
Awesome. This is
Let's
really
see.
great. One of these is just like, what's your favorite sandwich, Robert?
Great.
All right, so here we go. Let's see.
Turkey club.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Simple man.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a simple
Can't
pleasure.
go wrong with a turkey club.
I like a Reuben myself.
So, are you ready? Are you
Terrible
ready?
choice. I was born ready, baby.
All right, let's do it then. So we have Patrick at Patrick Salmon going, what's unique about this game and how have you made sure that it stays true to the Walking Dead universe?
Well, again, I think, the horde meter that you're talking about, the fact that you can't just run around shooting zombies without any kind of consequences. It's those consequences, that element of the game, I think is going to, make things more unique and definitely keep it within the world of The Walking Dead. It's not just about killing zombies. It's not, necessarily just like a fun, let's go kill zombies kind of thing. Like there's thought to it and there's strategy to it.
Yeah. All
We've
right.
also, in the comics, seen Washington, D.C. at a later day and time and seen what a horrible condition it is. So I think it's fun for readers of the comics to see how it kind of fits in and kind of watch some of that story unfold. And there are other elements down the road that hopefully you can work in that also take place around Washington, D.C. and some characters that may have started there. And
It's a very political game.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's not.
Hey, you said it.
the election level is just,
Do you see the Smithsonian in this game at all, or will we be able to...
We'll see. I mean, I think it depends on what Robert wants, what Skybound wants, what our community wants. And
I
what we
demand
want,
the
of course.
Smithsonian.
You're going to the aerospace.
I will not
The
rest.
Aerospace Museum. I like space. I want to see it.
Yeah.
All right, next question. So it's from Andy at Andy Gasal.
Oh, Andy.
How do you think you would fare if you were in the same situation as the characters of Overkill's The Walking Dead?
I think we covered that.
Yeah.
Terribly. Not well at all. I'm no expert.
All right.
But seriously, would you find someone, like, do you have someone on speed dial that would be like your go-to for help? Or
Like,
I would
make it-
just be on a never-ending cheeseburger hunt. I would. Those are my priorities.
But would you try to make it up by yourself, or would you try to find a group, or would you try to, like, what?
I have a family. I guess I'd try to protect them. I mean,
but the burgers are
honest.
yours.
yeah. I mean, unless there was like a real big burger shortage, and then
if you would have to choose.
They'd be on their own.
I just want a sitcom now. It's Robert and his family in the zombie apocalypse.
That's actually a good
and
sitcom.
2 few birds.
Right? Like,
That's actually a really
I think it'd be hilarious. Like, let's get it
My wife's like, kids, we got to get out of here. There's only one burger left.
yeah, there's that.
This is going to go poorly.
That's one of the episodes. It's like they find out that you've been stashing the hamburgers.
Yeah.
And
Your father loves you, but we really need to go.
Right. I love that.
So, Super got a spider, Super Spider 2001.
Oh, Super Spider.
You know, any nickname where you have a 2000 something in it.
Yeah.
Probably means they were born in 2001.
Well, all the 2000 screen, all the 2000 screen names have been taken too. So the fact that they have that is pretty awesome.
Impressive.
Yeah.
They ask, how is the story structured, and will it have a deep narrative, something The Walking Dead is known for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's about survival at its core, but you're going to get to know these characters, and it's going to be a narrative adventure that will be on the same level as a lot of the things that you've experienced in Walking Dead.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we took a bunch of time making sure that each of the 4 protagonists kind of have these unique backgrounds and just kind of add different flavors to The Walking Dead. Which is nice.
Cool. And then we have Sebas X23 going, will resources in Overkill's The Walking Dead, like bullets, be as important as they are in the series? Will be a good stealth system? And I think I can answer this a bit like...
Sure.
Regarding the stealth system, of course. I mean, one of the other games we've done in the past is Payday. It's a bank robbery game, and a big part of that is stealthing, and stealthing in first person, right? And like we talked about, the Walking Dead universe is so many different things, and one of those is staying hidden, like you were trying in the corner before, right? But you try to stay hidden, you try to survive, and a lot about that is trying to not make any noises. So
that's really how some of the strategy elements come into play. You're going to have to conserve ammo to a certain extent. The resources are a big part of the game. So.
They are, and the scarcity of them. Like there aren't that many, and there aren't that many bullets that as you might have liked when the shit actually hits the fan.
I'm a stabbing man myself. I like to get my hands dirty.
We got you covered. Don't worry. We've got a couple of different weapons for you to try. So, and all right, final question from Jay. Smokin' Jay. He says, do you plan on bringing anything iconic from the comics into the game? And does Robert know how legendary he is? Because I had a dream when I was pitching ideas to him on Overkill's The Walking Dead. And also, how does he get that amazing beard?
I'm very aware of my legendary status. The beard is just laziness. Really, all you have to do to grow a beard is wait.
Yeah.
So, that part's pretty easy. But what was the other part?
What iconic thing we're bringing in?
Oh yes. For fans of the comic book series, because there is so much going on around the Washington D.C. area in the comics. There's going to be a lot of cool Easter eggs and things like that very devoted fans will catch. Anything more than that, I feel like I would get in trouble. But
maybe, yeah.
we got a lot of cool stuff planned.
We do, absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. So if we get back to the game for a little bit, because I know we have some time left before we got to get out of here. So some people in the chat were asking about the 4-player element of the game. Now, I think you guys have said earlier that you could also potentially do a 2-player version or even a single-player version of the game.
Well, you can play as many people as you like, but if you try it at yourself, like anyone in the Walking Dead universe, you're going to have a difficult time, right?
Right. So it just makes it a harder experience?
It does, yeah, it does. And like anything, I mean, we designed the game in particular to be a 4-player co-op because we think that amount of people are going to have the most fun. But you can, of course, play 3 people if you want to. That's fine. Yeah.
So does that leave the 4th character up to an AI?
No, it leaves your group to try to survive in the post-apocalyptic setting yourselves.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There is another element for those gamers that are like, I want that hardcore version where I will not survive.
We've seen that because we've been doing co-op games for a long time, and we've seen that in Payday 2, for example, that even though it's a 4-player co-op game, and that's how 99.9% of people play it, there are times when everyone wants to try it by themselves. I want to go in and I want to do jewelry store by myself, and we think that people are gonna do that here too. People are gonna go, you know what? I don't need you guys. You always screw up. Robert, every goddamn time you always go cowering in the corner.
I'm sorry.
I get to defend of myself, making it harder for me.
Would there be potential for the possibility to break off and join a different group at that point, or is that something down the road you're not really exploring?
Well, I think the cool thing about this game is that we can take it wherever we'd like, you know. So we have an idea that we've talked with Robert and the crew, you know, how we want to do it for launch. But after that, just like with the other games we've done, you know, we have this idea about post-launch support. Like referencing Payday again, we've worked on that game post-launch for 5 years. Our goal with this game is to continue for years and years. Hopefully reach 15 years, even though it's you're young, right? 15 years in my mind is a long time, and I would love to see us explore the Walking Dead universe.
I don't know if I have 15 more years in me.
Not with all those burgers are eating.
Not when you're hoarding those burgers.
Too close to home, Sean.
This really does feel like the quintessential Walking Dead game. Like it feels like kind of like you've made it to a point where a Walking Dead FPS game, like this is really the way to do it. Was this kind of the way, like did you see this version of the game in your head, Robert, or was it not until Overkill kind of brought it in and you were like, oh shit, that's the one we do?
Yeah, I had no clue. No, I mean, I was like, oh, I don't know, those games are cool, whatever. But I mean, I knew I didn't want to do something that was exactly like what everyone else was doing. That's something that is very important to me. Every iteration of The Walking Dead has to provide something new to The Walking Dead world, but in whatever area that they're in, has to provide something new for the overall experience. And that's something that Overkill really brought from the get-go and really excited me and, you know, made it possible to do this.
Sure. Oh, my God. Well, I'm super excited about the game myself. Can you say, have you announced which platforms the game would be available on?
So the game's coming out on November 6th. It's going to be available for a PC on Steam, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One.
Great. I can't wait to get my PlayStation 4 key so that I can play it at home for free and
not have to pay
for it at all.
I need someone else. Like I said, you know, Robert, it's a difficult time. You know?
Awesome. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for joining us, Overkill. So let's take a look at this drawing.
All right.
You think you're finished with it?
We're done.
You're done? Okay.
We need Robert's signature and then.
Robert, you want to put your signature on it?
Yeah.
Get John Hancock on there?
You got an archival marker I can use to ruin that beautiful drawing you did?
This should do it.
Oh, okay.
Here.
I'm talking into this now.
See, this is my career in a nutshell. A guy works for a duration of time on a thing that's beautiful, and then I come and sign it at the end.
Usually right over the face, right?
You should feel terribly about it, Robert. Oh, look at that beautiful. Yeah, that's a nice pen there.
There we go.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this event. Very excited to play the game.
That just looks like part of his skin.
It's yours now, legally. Guys, thanks a lot. Stay tuned on the stream. Don't go anywhere. We got some more exciting stuff coming up. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us.